Hi, my name is Lukas, and in this video I'll show you how to create your own content blocker with Borlabs Cookie 3.0. But before we start, a very important note. Maybe the service you want to block right now is already present in Borlabs Cookie 3.0. Before you block a new service, it's worth checking the library to see if there's already a content blocker template prepared for your case. In the library, you can find a lot of pre-made packages under Content Blocker in the horizontal menu that you can install beforehand with just one click. For example, you can already find a package for Amazon Ads or Google Maps or whatever you want to block right now. So if you want to include content from these services, there's already a package available that you just need to install. If you need more information about the library, feel free to watch the video about it. So now let's move on with the tutorial and what you should do. You would start by using the search function to enter the name of your service and to see if the package already exists. If the package doesn't exist, you basically have two options. Option 1 is to contact Borlabs support and ask, hey, could you please create a new package for this service? The Borlabs team will then look at your service and possibly create a new package for it. However, you always have the option to create your own content blocker too. And this is what this video is all about. But before we start, I answer one final question. When do I actually need a content blocker and when do I need to add a service to block some JavaScript which was provided to me? So basically the difference between these two things is if there's any visible content on your site or not. If you just got a tracking code to track website performance, you will need to add a service. By the way, there's also a video about that. However, you need a content blocker when content is directly embedded into your site from external resources and will likely be visually displayed. We just saw examples for this, such as Google Maps or Amazon Ads or whatever. For such cases, you need a content blocker. And now I will show you how to create one in Borlabs Cookie 3.0. So we are here in Borlabs Cookie and we simply start by clicking on Blocker in the horizontal menu at the top and then on Content Blocker. Here we have the option to override the standard content blocker, which is already active. But before we start, let's take a look at how the standard content blocker works. I've prepared the test page with an iframe embedded, which should simply load the Borlabs main website onto this test domain. Let's take a look at how the content blocker works by default. We'll copy the link and open an incognito window, and here we can see by default, if we reject everything here, this content already is being blocked. This is the result of the default content blocker, which Borlabs already has active for you. If Borlabs detects an iframe which is running on a host name that is not your own website, it's automatically blocked. However, with Borlabs 3.0, we have the option to create our very own content blocker and also customize the appearance. Let's see how it works. Let's go back to WordPress and open the options for the content blocker again. Click here on the left side on Borlabs Cookie and select Content Blocker from the menu, or simply click here in the horizontal menu on Blocker, Content Blocker. Once here, we can now create our own content blocker for the iframe we just saw. We simply click on Add New, and here it's important again to enter a unique ID in the ID field. That means, since we want to load this Borlabs iframe now, we would write a small c for custom because it's our own content blocker followed by the name of our service, separated by a hyphen, so C Borlabs. We do this to make sure that our ID doesn't get in collision with another potential ID the Borlabs team could, if they would create this package officially, could use. The status would be set to enable. Now it's about describing this content blocker, and in this case it would simply be Borlabs website in plain text. We'll leave the service field empty for now and scroll further down. Ultimately, we just need to specify the provider who provides this service. In this case, the provider of this iframe is the Borlabs GmbH. To fill in all the necessary information about the provider, we would simply uncheck the box below and then enter Borlabs-GmbH here in the ID field. We can leave the vendor ID open for now. We'll write the name in plain text and write Borlabs GmbH. For the address, we would really look up the postal address of Borlabs, usually found on Google. If you're adding a different service, just search Google for the address or check the imprint. In this case, it would be Hamburger Straße 11 in Hamburg. For the provider description, you would enter something that describes this provider and not what describes the specific service of this provider, of this content blocker. So for the Borlabs GmbH, it would be something like, the Borlabs GmbH provides WordPress premium plugins to help website owners implement GDPR requirements on their website. You won't find the cookie and opt-out URLs in most cases, so I will leave that blank for now. But what's important to add is a privacy policy URL. You would follow the same process as with the address and other information. You would simply Google the name of the provider, for example Borlabs, and then add something like privacy policy. Or you can look for a privacy policy on their website. Then you copy the link and paste it here. In this case, it would be borlabs.io/privacy. After that, you can scroll down to the location section, where you have the option to enter the host name from which this service is loaded. To find out the host name, take a look at your script and search for a URL. In this example, the iframe was loaded directly from the Borlabs website. Therefore, you would simply click on Add Location and enter borlabs.io there. Make sure to check your script and also look out for these URLs. If, for example, the script includes example.com and example.de, then you would indeed enter both example.com and example.de. However, if there's only a single domain such as example.com, then you would only enter example.com. If there are subdomains in your script, you would actually only need to enter the main domain here. So if there would be an example like test.example.com, then it would be enough to enter only example.com. For the path, always leave this / here. Now onto the most interesting settings, namely the preview of the blocked content. Here we have the option to customize our own content blocker. You can simply click here and choose from one of these presets. With preset B, you can choose and set a background image for your content blocker. With preset C, you could indicate that there's a video behind your content blocker. Then the content blocker would be designed to look like there's a video behind it that still needs to be loaded. For this example, let's choose preset B and then select our own image from our media library. So we select the image and insert it into our content blocker. And then we already see it here as a preview. After that, we can click on Apply Preset. You can already see now what has happened. Your own content blocker has been created. You could also customize these white placeholders you can see here. Description, unblock button, accept service unblock content, and more information. If you want to customize the text of your content blocker, you can simply do it by correcting these placeholders. After that, you can scroll down a bit further. You don't have to do anything with the additional settings. Please also don't enter anything for JavaScript. And then you can finally save it at the bottom. Your own content blocker is now set up. Of course, let's take a look at what just happened on our test page. When we have arrived on our test page, we can open it again in an incognito window to see what happened. So we just briefly saw it in the background. Our preview image was definitely loaded. We are going to act now as a visitor, as if we rejecting everything, because then the content should remain blocked. To do this, we click on Accept Only Essential Cookies, and then we can see it looks really cool now with the new background image compared to the default content blocker. And that's how you can create your own content blocker with Borlabs Cookie 3.0. If we now click on Unlock Content, then this content will be loaded. Let's take a final look at what happens if we had clicked on Accept All in the dialog. So let's close the old incognito window and open up a new one. Now let's accept everything here in the dialog and see what happens. The content blocker remains blocked. However, one thing you could still do is to automatically unlock this content through this dialog if consent is given by your visitor. If you're interested in this topic, feel free to watch the video about it. You can find it in the knowledge database of Borlabs or on YouTube. Finally, a tip for absolute emergencies. So if this approach hadn't worked and your service still hadn't been blocked, then you still have the option to block this content via the Borlabs shortcode. To do this, close the incognito window again, go back to your content blocker in WordPress and click on Edit. You can find it, as I said, under Borlabs and then under Content Blocker. So here at the top in the horizontal menu under Blocker, Content Blocker. And then you would have the content blocker you just created displayed here. To edit it, click on the edit icon on the right side. And now you will find a shortcode here at the top. You can copy this shortcode via this icon here and then use it on your test page. So I am now back on the test page and this was our old iframe. We don't see a shortcode from Borlabs here. I will just add a new code module to showcase the difference. Now I will insert what Borlabs gives us as a shortcode, and here we see a shortcode with the ID we just set for the content blocker. And here between the brackets we can now specify exactly what should be blocked. So if it hadn't worked before to block the whole thing, then you would copy your code and then paste it in between these brackets. Of course, you would remove the default text within the brackets first. After that, we could delete the old iframe, just click on delete. Of course, if you are using a page builder, you would use a module. This looks a bit different in most cases, but works the same way everywhere. And then you could save the page again and it would be blocked for sure. With that said, I hope the video was helpful for you. If you're looking for more information about Borlabs Cookie 3.0, feel free to check out Borlabs knowledge database at borlabs.io/support or look on YouTube for more tutorials about Borlabs Cookie 3.0. You'll also find the previously mentioned video there where you can unblock this content blocker directly through the dialog. So feel free to check it out. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video.